Can a service technician, a good selling technician, do both? They can, but I just don't see that being sustainable for the future, because eventually that service technician, if they're really good at sales, they're going to want to just do sales calls. The diagnostic tech that's really good at diagnosing, they might not want to sell jobs.
Escape the One Man Show podcast.
Welcome to Escape the One Man Show, where we help contractors stop running a job, start building a company. Today we got a call from Chris Powers, who owns Southern Values Cooling and Heating in Florida, and he asked a great question. Let's go ahead and play his question now.
Hey Derek, it's Chris with Southern Values Cooling and Heating in Bradenton, Florida. Trying to figure out at what point I should try to bring on a comfort advisor, or if I'd be better off sticking with a selling tech model. What's your thought?
That is a great question, Chris. I have actually attempted to do both in my business. I had selling techs at one point in my HVAC service department, and I've also had dedicated comfort advisors. So I will give you that opinion, but it really depends on the size of your business. When you're small, one truck, couple employees, you've got a dedicated comfort advisor or salesperson, and they sell a lot of jobs. You're not going to have the capacity to complete all of those jobs. And some people think, if I've got a bunch of jobs sold, I can just hire people then. No, can't. People aren't willing to wait more than a couple of days for their AC system to be installed. They're canceling and they're going with other companies, and that's going to ruin your reputation. So I'd recommend in the beginning, you go with the selling technician model, and that might be you as the owner that goes out, diagnoses, sells. And because in the beginning, you need people that are adaptable. They're willing to not only sell repairs, but install those repairs, blower motors, compressors, ductwork, duct sealing, whatever you've got. Some of your HVAC installers need to be a little bit flexible too. Sometimes they're going to have to help out with HVAC repairs. Sometimes a service technician might need to jump into install and help out. When you set those expectations right from the start, they're not upset and mad that they have to do those things. So that's why in the beginning, making it very clear in their job expectations that you may have to do HVAC repairs, HVAC installs, ductwork, sealing. You might also have to run diagnostics and sell things. That should be very short-lived that you do that, because as you grow, you want people to specialize, because people are usually good at a specific part of the job. You think about an accountant typically isn't the type of person that makes a really good salesperson. They're not necessarily amazing at communication. They're good at math, crunching numbers, accuracy, save you money, but they might not be as good with communication, might not be as eloquent, they might not have as much charisma. They might not be good at convincing people into making a decision. So it's the same thing in the trades. A really good diagnostic technician might not be good at sales. If they're really analytical and they're good at figuring out what's wrong with the system and coming up with creative solutions, they're probably not going to be the best salesperson. Now, you might get someone that's a little bit good at several things, but realistically, there's something that they're best at. And the more time and energy you invest into training them in what they're naturally good at, they're going to be a monster. So it should be short-lived, and as you grow, I do recommend you eventually have dedicated salespeople. Call them comfort advisors. We call them project managers, because we want to give them a little bit more responsibility than just selling the job. Again, we know most HVAC installers hate the HVAC sales department because they sell jobs that don't work, right? The air handlers don't fit in the closets. They don't have the proper build sheets. The unit's sometimes not sized properly. The condenser doesn't fit. They need a crane and they didn't call in the crane. They need to carry it over these bushes or this fence. If you're an HVAC installer or you've been an HVAC install, you struggle. It's super aggravating. So to prevent that with callbacks, with upset customers, I recommend you call them project managers, and I recommend you have some expectations for them. They need to fill out build sheets so that the installers have a proper scope of what they should be doing. So again, the reason why I recommend having comfort advisors as well is because let's say a technician goes to a call and they diagnose the issue and they've been there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. They're already spent. They're not wanting to go through the process of evaluating what needs to be done to give this person an estimate, right? You should be doing a manual J, heat load calculation. That takes time. You should be looking at their duct system, making sure it's sized properly. Are the supply and return plenums sized properly? Are the return grills sized properly? Are we getting the right amount of CFM and airflow? If the system that's there isn't sized properly for the home when you do the heat load calculation, then that's a conversation that we have to have. And then we have to find out lifestyle questions about the homeowner. What are they interested in, right? Does anyone in the home have allergies? Wanting something that might be super efficient, like a variable speed inverter? Are they wanting a heat pump, or they just want to straight cool with electric heat strips? They don't really. Is there gas in the home? So the explore portion for a comfort advisor or project manager is a little bit more in depth with understanding the customer, their home, how long they want to live there for, so you know what to offer them. You should not be offering these customers what you want to sell them. You should be finding out what's important to them, what's right for the home, what's right for their budget. And that takes a lot of mental effort. And if you've just been in that home sweating, diagnosing this system for 2 hours, you probably need a break. So sometimes the transition to turn that over to a project manager who comes in there fresh, looks at it with fresh eyes, and then you know what? The homeowner can make the decision themselves. They have options. They can go with the repair, which is what the diagnostic technician offered them, or they can go with replacement, and they can look at the two options. Can a service technician, a good selling technician, do both? They can, but I just don't see that being sustainable for the future, because eventually that service technician, if they're really good at sales, they're going to want to just do sales calls. The diagnostic tech that's really good at diagnosing, they might not want to sell jobs. So as we grew and we got bigger, we really dedicated people towards what they were good at. If someone was really good at maintenance and offering options to customers to help preventative maintenance and prevent things from breaking and protective items, they become a maintenance technician. If someone was really analytical and good at figuring out what's wrong with the system and offering creative options to fix the system, they'd be a diagnostic technician. If someone is really good at communication, charisma, looking at the whole picture and being able to go over options with the customer, that most likely is going to become a project manager in our company. I don't like to put someone in a project manager role unless they have some technical training, because they're going to cause so many issues to that home if they don't know what they're doing. So a really good salesperson that's not willing to put the effort in to learn the trade, don't do it. Do not hire them. Do not just let them out there free. This isn't like car sales where they can walk in and just sell the car and not hurt the homeowner in the end or the customer in the end. They can really harm the customer's home, create a lot of issues. So they need to have some technical training. So whether you have them ride along with techs in the field, whether you have a training program in-house, whether you send them to a couple classes or school, you really need to have that comfort advisor trained. They might not need to know exactly how to fix or a blower motor or braze or pull a vacuum and things like that, but they need to know what they're doing to be able to create options for the customer that is right for the home. Something cool we do as well is we actually have dedicated repair technicians. So after repairs are sold, we send our repair technicians after the fact to complete those repairs. And I know some people are like, oh my goodness, efficiency down the tube. You should just be doing one trip jobs where you go there, you diagnose, and you install. Well, here's the issue with that. A lot of the OEM parts, inverter parts, we don't carry on our trucks. We're going to hundreds, thousands of systems with all different types of parts. And now we can't just put universal parts in there for PSC motor. We might be dealing with an ECM speed motors. And if it's under warranty, we need to get that exact part. So that might not be in stock at the supply house. That evaporator coil, we're going to need to get from the supply house. Am I going to send my best selling technician or my best diagnostic technician back to complete that repair? No, it's math. If my best selling technician can run 4 calls and his average sale is $1,500 and he's got 75% close rate, he's going to make way more money if I send him on 4 calls versus then sending him to a couple repairs that he's not selling anything on. I'd rather send that repair tech that hates selling, really knowledgeable, good at doing the work, and they can just go there and complete all the jobs for all the guys as they move on. So really tuning into what people are good at and investing in training to make them the best at what they do. As you have this amazing team, you're going to have the best maintenance techs, diagnostic techs, repair techs, installers, eventually separate the best ductwork people, comfort advisors. And if you do other things like commercial versus residential, right? A really good commercial technician is very different than a really good residential technician. So as you grow, I would highly recommend you separate these things and you dedicate these people towards specific roles. And that's just going to make them happier because it's towards their strengths. So they're probably going to win. They're probably going to make more money. So in the beginning, I think a selling technician model is what you should do. But in the future, I believe comfort advisor is the way. Thanks for joining me on Escape the One Man Show. I'll see you on the next episode. If you're a contractor or a business owner that has questions about their business, call the Escape the One Man Show line at 321-495-7788. Leave your name, company, location, and your question, and I may feature it and answer it on the next episode. Thanks.